Terminology. This section is to brush you up on the terminology and jargon used in the online ESL industry. These terms are frequently used, and so it is best to be able to understand what they all mean. A native English speaker, NES. This means anyone who speaks English from a young age and has lived in an English-speaking country their whole life. It is an ambiguous term. Some people believe you have to have a passport from a native-speaking country. Others believe you are native English based on how long you've lived in the country. Either way, the key is to be from a country that speaks English as a first language, and you must have English as your mother tongue. If you have a passport from the USA, UK, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and sometimes South Africa, then you are considered a native English speaker. An NNES, a non-native English speaker. This is someone whose mother tongue is not English and who was brought up in a non-native English-speaking country. If you learned English as a second language, you are a non-native English speaker. If you come from anywhere outside of the USA, UK, Canada, Ireland, Scotland, Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand, then you will be considered as an NNES, a non-native English speaker. If your mother tongue is Afrikaans, then you are also considered a non-native English speaker. ESL, I say this word a lot. ESL stands for English as a Second Language. ESL students are non-native speakers of the language, i.e. foreign students who are learning English as their second language. EFL. This means English as a foreign language. Practically, there is no difference between ESL and EFL. In both cases, the students are non-native speakers of English and are learning English as a foreign or a second language. TEFL. TEFL is the acronym for Teaching English as a Foreign Language, also known as Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, TESOL, and Teaching ESL, English as a Second Language. TESOL stands for Teaching English as a Second Language, as I mentioned earlier. In practical terms, when you apply these in the field of teaching English online, there is little to no difference between TEFL and TESOL. They are both acronyms that essentially mean the same thing, teaching the English language to non-native speakers or foreigners. CELTA stands for the Certificate of English Teaching to Adults. The Cambridge CELTA is a specific type of TEFL certificate. It is standardized and courses are run in centers all over the world, and it is an incredibly intensive course lasting 4 to 5 weeks, full-time, and costs can run into thousands. It is the most advanced and expensive teaching certification out of the options of TEFL and TESOL, and it is heavily focused on both practical and theoretical components when teaching. Non-native English speakers who want to teach abroad or online should look into doing a CELTA to give them more ground to stand on. However, for native English speakers, it is important to bear in mind that for online ESL teaching, you do not need a CELTA, and a TEFL or TESOL certification is perfectly adequate. Teaching ESL. This means teaching English to non-native speakers. It is different to teaching English to students who speak English in your home country. It requires its own teaching style and set of tools to teach, and this is what I will show you in week 3 of this training. TPR, Total Physical Response. This is a unique ESL technique designed in the 1960s by James Asher, and this technique has been used since, as the key aspects of TPR can be used as an essential part of any ESL lesson. The TPR method is exactly as the name entails. It's all about total physical response, meaning it's all about using your body to teach the language. I will go into much more training on TPR in week 3, at least now you are aware of what it means. STT, Student Talking Time. This refers to the amount the students speak during a lesson. It is important to get the students speaking more than the teacher in ESL lessons. The whole way they learn as a foreigner is through speaking and making mistakes. So initiating conversation, probing, and using other techniques can be used in order to increase the SST, the student talking time. I will also go through this in more detail in week 3, however now you know what it means.